to leave home in search of freedom. Freedom to do as he pleases. But freedom does not mean that you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. Freedom is not becoming a servant of your desires, a slave to lust and passion. It is not being chained to your ambition, your need for recognition, your love for wealth, riches, power. My friends, we can only be free to a total surrender of our life to Christ. Only his love for us and his grace to us can make us free. If you could sit this young man down and talk some sense into his head, what is the first thing you would say to him? Wouldn't you say something like, boy, are you crazy? If it were your brother who would approach your old man like that, what do you think he would have said? Sure, son, have it your way? Oh, no. I leave you to figure out that. What your old man's response would be. So why did the youth decide to leave home? I'll tell you why. He was crazy. Plain and simple. I'll explain to you. First, let me say that sin makes us crazy. You recall what happens in the story. The son makes the request. And the father what? Obliges. Probably liquidates part of his assets so he can give his wayward son his inheritance. And the boy leaves for the far country. He arrives in some city which I imagine is some decadent metropolis, probably with the lights of casinos and confetti, a mad rush of non-stop excitement and a superficial reality. You know, by sporting his new rich status, he achieves instant popularity with his sharp GQ wardrobe. You know GQ? Known for fancy clothes and style. Gentlemen's Quarterly. Wardrobe is sparkling silver and black, 8-cylinder sport utility chariot, and his naive generosity. Drinks are always on him when he hangs out with his newly found friends. He blows through his millions with his prodigious lifestyle, and that means extravagant, wasteful lifestyle. Morally unrestrained, especially in sexual activity. I would imagine he had women galore. I have no doubt he would make Tiger Woods look very modest. Fancy clothes, first-class house, probably the light of a penthouse. Sense of living. Hard to keep track of your checkbook balance, much less current events, like news of the approaching famine when you are under the influence non-stop. Suddenly, bills start mounting, the chariot gets repossessed, and he gets evicted from his penthouse. Too broke to eat, too proud to beg, too self-reliant to go to pleasure seekers anonymous. This friend to everybody now needs a friend, a few friends himself. Where are they? What happened to their theme song? I'll be there for you. His own boys and girls are nowhere to be found. Too late he learns the difference between friend and freeloader. So he sees himself circling the drain, ready to fall into the abyss. With no one to love him, nowhere to turn, he finds himself falling from the palace to the poorhouse, to the pig pen. Maybe you can relate. Looking up, you see bottom. No one to blame but yourself. People try to warn you, but you responded hogwash. That means useless talk. Play the word a little. Now you are here, rolling in it, hogwash. That is refuse fed to why do you stand snout to snout with the pigs outside, trying to out-hustle swine over their food? It is here where the slop has hit the fan that will pick up the story. Let me direct you to just one short phrase that Jesus used, which confirms that this young man's problem, what this young man's problem all along, that he was crazy. Jesus said, look at verse 17. Verse 17. When he finally came to his senses, let me read the verse from the New Living Translation. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. My friend, what is the best word to describe someone that in his senses? Someone who is out of his senses. Crazy. When he recovered from his insanity and finally came to himself, he realized, hey, I don't have to take this pig slap anymore. No, I'm intensive behavioral therapy in a therapeutic pig pen community. The young man is cured of his craziness, as his senses are jolted to the reality of a better way of life. He still does not have a clue as to the depth of his father's love. But nothing, my friend, can be worse than his present messy situation. And so we see him. He's thinking clearly now. We can hear him rehearsing the speech he plans to deliver to the old man. He's ready to become a slave now in his father's house, to follow whatever his dad orders. From son to slave sounds much better than from son to son, or from homeboy to hot hustler. He doesn't care what the responsibilities are, or even the penalties. All he wants is to find a place at the servant's table in his father's house. Hired on, no problem. Work day and night, no problem. The question is, if his father loved him that much, why didn't he go searching for his lost son? The answer is simple. Unlike the lost sheep, who is lost but doesn't know the way home, or the lost coin who doesn't even know that it is lost. The prodigal son was lost, knew he was lost, but also knew the way home. Our loving God, my friends, sends reminders of his love. But if you already know the way home, his love can draw you, but it does not force you to come home. The pastor can't force you to bend your knee in submission to God, or to reach out to grasp those arms downstretched from heaven and outstretched from Calvary. The pastor can't force you to pray, to open a Bible, to come to church, or to surrender to God. And God will not force you either. But as he knocks on your heart's door, isn't it time to let go of your pride, fear, hunger, or whatever is holding you back from responding to the gentle touch of God's Holy Spirit? So until then, the Father waits, yearning for you to come to your senses, constantly scanning the horizon for the child who is estranged from home, but not forgotten by his father's heart. And then, wonder of wonders, something happens. This young man who left